10 o'clock. Welcome to Lincoln Ware Live. We're here every Sunday morning from 10 until 11. And as usual, we have a great show lined up for you today. The first half of the show, we're going to talk to the Reading Fire Department. We've got Fire Chief Kevin Kaiser and Assistant Chief Kim Fladung with us, going to talk about fire prevention. This is National Fire Prevention Month. And on the second half of the show, we're going to talk to Joe Mallory from the Board of Elections. Going to give you all the ins and outs of going to the polls and maybe even put out the call for some poll workers. If you want to work on Election Day, they may have a job just sitting there waiting for you. So we'll talk about that. To kick things off, it's Fire Prevention Month. Now, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
It seems like I have seen more fires during the summer months than usual. Is that, have you noticed that?
It's been a bad summer. It's been so dry, so hot. People get careless because they need their cooling adjuncts to fans and air conditioners. There's a lot of different reasons for it, but it has been an unseasonably warm summer, and of course that does contribute to it a little bit.
Yeah. And Fire Prevention Month, you know, we have to tell people, make sure those smoke detectors are working, change the batteries, and of course, we're going to change, go back to Eastern Standard Time next week, and people should change batteries in their fire detectors.
You know, at home, we feel so safe in our own houses, but 80% of the fire deaths in this country occur in people's homes, and that's why smoke detectors are so important. You know, to get that early notification, wake you up, so you can get out of the house, meet somewhere safe, call the fire department, let them do their work. But we just need to get people out of their homes, and smoke detectors are their best protection.
Now, what is the interest kids have in matches? You always hear fire-started kids playing with matches or a lighter. What can parents tell their kids? You know, this is what I would always do. I'd strike a match and put it close to my daughter's finger and let them feel the burn. This is what can happen. And then they didn't like that. You know, okay, go ahead and call 241 kids on me. But it works. It works.
It's a common way. And now, I mean, we realize there's a real science behind how you counsel children who are curious about fire. And in the greater Cincinnati area, we have a real strong collaboration of healthcare professionals, psychologists, and firefighters, that when we see children who are a little more curious than normal, that they go through this, and it may just be an education process or actual counseling. And sometimes there's some real deep-seated problems in that family maybe that's bringing it out. So that's why this counseling is so nice. Now, we're not just burning every little time.
Yeah. Well,
it's a great program, and every fire department in our area is involved in that to some degree, and a great place for parents to go if they have a concern to get information about the programs, and then we can get them in.
Now, when you go around to schools and talk to kids, what do they normally say? What's the most asked question when you go into schools?
Well, a lot of time it depends on the age group. When we talk to the younger kids, and we go to classes K through 8 and even into the high school, a lot of times the younger kids want to tell us stories about something that they've done. The majority of questions that we get is, you know, have you ever been to a big fire and how big was it? And have you ever, you know, carried or rescued anybody out from a building and things like that. So usually when we go to the schools, which we're doing during this month to all of our elementary schools, we have a message that we give to them, whether it's to crawl low and smoke or what to do if their clothes catch on fire. And we'll even use some of the students in the schools to demonstrate some of those things. And then we give them time at the end of the presentation to ask us questions.
Now, we're going to take a break, and then we'll come back and talk about carbon monoxide. That seems the silent killer. How do you protect yourself against that? And because you're hearing more and more about carbon monoxide poisoning, and we'll take a quick break. We'll come right back and talk to you about that. If you've got questions you want to ask about fire safety, give us a call at 513-381-3838. That's the number, 513-381-3838. We'll take a break and come right back. We're back live, Lincoln Ware Live, and we're talking Fire Prevention Month. And coming up on the second half of the show, we're going to talk Election Day with Joe Mallory from the Hamilton County Board of Elections. We were talking before the break about carbon monoxide poisoning. I mean, it's just the silent killer, and people just don't know when they're being poisoned until it's too late.
Yeah, we often talk about the water heaters and gas operators burning things, but
Or he's on. Sorry.
we always got to be careful. And if you have these devices, you have to be suspicious. It's odorless. You can't see it. So, you know, having some type of detector is your best protection to alert you and your family that there's a problem, and then you can get it taken care of.
Right, right. And how much do they usually run?
They can be very expensive. They can run up to $50 depending on what kind you have. But again, with the Red Cross here in our area, and a lot of the fire departments are working with Red Cross to make these available to people who are at risk.
Now, how accurate are they? Because I've seen some reports saying, well, you know, you really can't depend on them. They're not that accurate. So what do you think?
Well, when they first came out, there was a lot of problem in the Chicago area from just the pollution from car exhaust and everything else. But they've really honed in, and they're very sensitive meters. And now they have the ability to track what your exposures were during the course of a day. So they've become a lot more sophisticated. And if they're installed correctly, they're very accurate, and they do a very good job.
Okay. All right. Let's go to the telephones, 513-381-3838. Let's go to Mary. Mary, good morning. You're on Lincoln Ware Live. How are you?
Good morning, and oh, you're so handsome. I like that outfit on you.
Oh, my goodness. Mary, I'm going to have to hire you as my design coordinator.
You just keep up the good work. Keep looking handsome. I want to say, you know, thank God for old houses, because I've even had mine insulated, and it's still air get in here, so I don't have to worry about the carbon dioxide.
Carbon monoxide. You got to worry, but you need carbon dioxide. But now, what do you mean you don't have to worry about it? What do you mean?
Well, I've been here over 30 years, and I haven't had no problem, but my son put in a detector because he was worried about it.
Okay. What type? Do you have gas or electric heating?
I have gas.
Okay.
And I want to say also about you talking about burning your baby with the fire.
Wait, hold on, back up. I didn't say I just took the match and put it close to the finger until it got a little hot, and she said, oh, and that was enough to let her know not to play with matches.
That is so ignorant. That's what my dad was thinking. I think that's mean.
Oh, my God.
I think that what you're supposed to do is put that stuff out of kids' reach.
Well, yeah, but sometimes things can happen, and you know how bad kids are. They find things that you think you put away.
If you lock it up or put it out of their way, they will not get it. And do not burn your baby.
Oh, jeez. Okay. Call 241-KIDS on me. Unbelievable. But you're right. Keep matches and lighters out of kids' way. I mean, that's the main thing, because they just love to experiment.
No, and they are. They're very curious, and you know what? They like to explore.
Yeah.
So sometimes just on top of the refrigerator or in a drawer doesn't work.
Yeah, yeah.
And we try and impress upon the kids when we talk to them in the schools that if they find something laying around the house, to take it and give it to mom or dad, and don't play with it. But obviously sometimes that doesn't happen.
Now, and then maybe you could do what the coroner does. You know, he takes body bags around. Maybe you could show some photographs of someone who's been burned.
Yeah, we've never gone to that extreme, but I'll tell you what we have done is we have many props that we use, and we've taken pajamas that maybe a child was wearing that unfortunately was hurt. Okay. And of course we don't take that burned child around, but we do take those clothes, and you know, it still makes a pretty strong impact with them.
I think them seeing a kid in the Shriners Burn Institution there, let them see that. What could happen to you? I think that would make a big impact also.
Yeah, it does. It breaks your heart. We've had some tours through there, and the people down there do a great job. But the props with like the pajamas, little baby dolls that are burnt, you know, their toys and things, it makes a strong impact with them.
Now, what goes on in the life of a firefighter? I mean, you guys are on 24 hours a day, and what do they work? 1 day on, 2 days off? How does that work?
Most of the departments that are career departments, we're unique here in this area that we still have all volunteer fire departments that are manned by people who have some other profession. We have combination departments which are manned by career and volunteer or part-time, and then you have like the Cincinnati Fire Department, which is a total career department. Our department in Reading is a combination department. We have career people that are there 24 hours shift, and then they work 1 day and they're off too. We also have part-time people that work a 24-hour shift, and we still have a strong core of volunteers that do that to serve their community besides their other professions. So we're unique that we have all three types.
And you have you constantly conducting training for your firefighters, because I know they had some issues up in Mason, I believe it was, about the fire department not being properly trained.
Absolutely. There are so many federal, state, and local mandates now that require us to have certain amount of hours of training in not only firefighting anymore, but the fire department has become a technical rescue type of department. When something goes wrong, a person's trapped in a trench or a building collapse, the fire department's the one that makes the response.
Jaws of life.
The jaws of life. So we have so many different things that we have to train on. The training is a major component of our job every day.
All right, 513-381-3838. We're taking your calls, and we'll go to Leanne. Leanne, good morning. How are you? Leanne. Hello, Leanne. And I believe Leanne is gone. All right, we'll talk to Leanne a little bit later on. 513-381-3838. Now, in Reading, you often call on Cincinnati Police to come in, Cincinnati Fire Department to come in and help with some of the...
Yeah, in Hamilton County, we've had a long tradition of mutual aid, and we do work with Cincinnati and many other communities around us. And that relationship has gotten even stronger and stronger in the last 5 or 6 years. Okay. But yeah, none of us really have the resources to take care of our own. So we really work close together with each other in Cincinnati and Reading. Sycamore Township, really strong in our area.
Just the other night, right here on Reading Road, there was someone trapped underneath a car. I don't know if you guys responded. It looked like I saw fire departments from everywhere up there.
I'm not sure.
It was right up there, and someone, I guess they left the car running or something, it ran over them, and the car was hanging over the ledge. So they had everybody there. They didn't want the car to tumble over, and they were trying to get the person out. They ended up using the jaws of life to lift the car up. And it was amazing. But you guys work together. Now, now is coming the time, when the weather gets cooler, that's when things seem to happen.
That's when carbon monoxide tends to be more of an issue. People are using their heating appliances and what have you. And no matter how often you have these serviced, things can still happen. So like Mary, she's been most fortunate not to have a problem, but she still has a detector. And it's not bad because a bird can clog up that vent and many other strange things have happened. But it's good to have these, test them, and make sure you have it located somewhere where it's going to work for you. Just like the smoke detectors. A lot of people have them, but I think the national average was like 66% of the ones installed often weren't working properly because they wouldn't change the battery or something. So you have to test them. That's a key element of it.
Now, what about people who have attached garages? They shouldn't warm their cars up in the garage with the door open. You shouldn't even warm your car up with the door open.
No, we all do it though. We like the car to be warm before we, but it is dangerous. And unfortunately, our minds just get so involved in other things that we need to do.
People think because the door is open, they're okay. But
or
a lot of that...
we park it and we forget to turn them off even. So.
Now, see, that's the one that gets me. I just can't... And that's what they say happened, I believe, in this latest carbon monoxide. They say the ignition was on, and it was out of gas. So that tells me that they left the car running.
And we've seen it before. It's not the first case. So, so that's why we prepare. And that's why these kind of devices, because we all make mistakes. And by having these devices, it says, hey, guy, something's wrong here. Go check it out.
So you would say the best thing to do is to back your car, at least the back end of it, out of the garage, and then let it sit and warm. But don't have the entire car inside warming up.
Sometimes when our car's in the garage, how much warming up does it really need?
Right. That's true. That's true. All right, let's go to the telephones. 513-381-3838. Let's go to Willie. Willie, how are you?
Good morning. I'm fine, thank you.
What's your question?
I have a statement and a question.
Okay.
I was wondering, hi officers, how are you today?
Fine, how are you?
I was wondering how come...
Turn your TV down.
Oh, I'm sorry, let me turn my TV down.
You're listening to yourself in delay. And that can be confusing. It confuses me.
I was just wondering how come I haven't seen the officers' faces that have been slacking off on their job in Hyde Park. When officers...
Oh, my God. Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea what we're talking about this morning?
I see the officers here from Reading and all of that.
They're firefighters from Reading.
Firefighters. And
so that has nothing to do with the Cincinnati Police Department.
Ware, hold on. Don't be so...
But you're not talking about anything we're talking about.
I'm talking about Cincinnati.
Call back later. Thanks for your call. Who's next up? Who's screening these calls out there? Brenda, how you doing?
How you doing, Lincoln Ware?
Pretty good.
And I would like to say hello to the fire department.
Hello.
Hi.
What's your question?
My question is that I have noticed a lot of times back in the day, like in the early 80s, fire departments used to come and knock on your door to check and make sure your smoke detectors was working. and everything was okay. And I noticed over the years that they don't do that anymore. You know, they don't come
I can
to
address
check
that
and
for
make
you.
sure everything is okay. I mean, it was just general for them to come.
Okay, hold on a second.
We still do that in the city of Reading. We can't speak for every fire department, but every year we have what we call a smoke detector blitz, where we target an area in the community, usually 200 to 300 houses each time, that we do go door to door, knock on their door. We have a real good partnership with the Reading High School Key Club, which is a group of students at Reading High School that come out and volunteer their time to go with us door to door and help us. If a family needs a smoke detector or a carbon monoxide detector, through the donations of the Red Cross, we will provide them and install them at that time.
And I believe the city of Cincinnati does the same thing
do.
also. They even have batteries that they issue out in certain communities.
Yeah, and if we haven't hit your neighborhood for a while and you have a question, not only in Reading, but the other entities in our area, give them a call your local fire department. They'll come out and they'll check those things. And many of them are involved in these same programs to change your batteries for you, give you new detectors if you need them, and help you with general fire stuff. So never hesitate to call to ask for that help, because you know what, it is hard to get to each neighborhood.
That's it. All right, thanks for your call.
Thank you.
All right, let's take a quick break and we'll come back with more of your questions. And don't forget, coming up on the second half of the show, Election Day right around the corner. Joe Mallory is here. What ID, what forms of identification will you need when you go to the polls? We'll answer all of those questions when we come back on the second half of the show, but we'll come back with the officers in just a moment.
I'm Wang Wang. I approve this message.
Fat Zombie says he would vote for good nutrition. But whose good nutrition? After all, zombies eat brains. Fortunately, there's Wang Wang, an experienced leader who won't eat your brains. Wang Wang, the experience we need, the leadership we trust. Paid for by Friday Night Food.
We're back live. Where do they get these commercials from? Unbelievable. We're back live. Lincoln Ware Live is the program. We're here every Sunday morning from 10 until 11. We're talking fire prevention, and we've got a few more minutes left, so we'll get right to the telephones. Shelley, you have a question?
All right, hold on, please.
Shelley, you have a question? Shelley. Hey, Shelley.
This is Shelley.
Yes, go ahead.
This is Tracy.
Okay.
And I'm calling because Lincoln Ware, you just tried to embarrass a young lady that was calling about.
Who's screening these calls? Unbelievable. Okay, unbelievable. It's Fire Prevention Month, and like I say, if you don't have a smoke detector and you live in Reading and you just can't afford one, if they call you, you'll be able to help them out?
In Reading and Cincinnati, a lot of the communities in our region have the same programs. We partner with the Red Cross on that, and they've been able to get the funds to support that. So, yeah, call your local fire department, not just Reading.
All right. Now, if they want to volunteer, maybe they've spent some time in the military or something, and they worked in some type of fire department in the military, and they want to volunteer, how do they do that?
You know, there's a lot of opportunities for volunteerism right now, not only with the fire service, but the city of Cincinnati has a corps of volunteers that they train in the event that there was a disaster like a tornado or something. So there's a lot of opportunities, and if they make contact again with the local fire department, we can steer you in the direction that you might want to be, but there's many opportunities for volunteering.
And how can they reach you? How can they find out?
They can get on the Reading website, and we have information about the specific programs we have, or just give us a call. If you don't live in Reading and you're not sure where to go, you know, I can help you with that.
Okay. And if we've got any school administrators out there that would like to get you to come into the schools to talk to the students, they can do the same thing?
Kim manages those programs, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, we want to thank you for joining me this morning. We appreciate it, and we want people to make sure they get those carbon monoxide detectors and smoke detectors.
And test them.
Make sure you test them. And always the day that we go back to Eastern Standard Time, that's the day when you check all your batteries, change them in your smoke detectors. And,
change the clock, change the battery.
What are we going forward?
Fall back.
We're going back. Yeah, fall back, spring ahead. We're falling back. And don't forget to check
we get extra sleep.
Yeah, I know it. I love that. Check those batteries, check those smoke detectors, and make sure you have a safe upcoming fall and winter. And we don't want to have you calling 911 to get the fire department out to help rescue you. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me this morning. And we'll take a quick break, and we'll come back and talk about the election day coming up. What do you do when you get to the polls and they say they don't have your name? We'll answer all those questions when we return with Joe Mallory from the Hamilton County Board of Elections. Back in a moment. We're back live. Lincoln Ware Live is the program. And as promised, the second half of the show, Joe Mallory from the Hamilton County Board of Elections. Joe, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Lincoln. I appreciate it.
Election day is coming up, and things will be busy. You got a lot of issues on the ballot. You got the council election, and you've got a lot of the suburban areas, different elections, school boards, and things like that going on. So you guys will be busy coming up between now and election day.
Very busy.
Now, let's start off talking about poll workers, because you're always in need of poll workers. And what is the job of a poll worker, and how do you become one?
Well, a poll worker, you don't have to take a test. Basically, you have to have the desire to be a poll worker, and you can contact the Board of Elections, and we will send you to a training class. You have to attend a 4-hour training class, and that's up from what we used to do in the past. But the training class is because we have this new electronic equipment, you know, that we've been using for a couple of years here, and we want you to be acclimated with it, and so that you're, you know, you feel confident that you can process voters when they come in to vote. And you call our poll worker training department, and they will assign you to a class. And the shortage came because, you know, whenever we have a shift in the governor's office, you know, however many precincts the governor wins, it switches to the other party.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of presiding judges are now, the Democrats control some of those precincts where the governor won those precincts. And so the Democrats have to find the presiding judges now.
And they even get paid for the training.
They get paid $45 for going for that 4-hour training class.
And they even get paid on the day of election also.
They sure do. And they have to attend the organizational meeting the day before election day at 7 in the evening. They have to attend an organizational meeting so they can get all their supplies together, get organized before election morning.
Now, if you want to become a poll worker, how do you do that? Who do you contact?
They just call down to the Board of Elections. Our main information number is 632-7000, just to be a little easier. 632-7000. Write that number down, 632-7000. Please don't call me tomorrow morning and ask me what that number was to get in touch with the Board of Elections. 632-7000. Give them a call. Now, okay, we got the workers at the polls. When you get to if you're going to vote, what do you need? There's been all this controversy on ID. What do you need? What if they don't have your name? What forms of ID do you need to have in order to vote? Well, basically, one of the main things you need is an ID showing your address, where you're in a registered book, your voting address, your name, address, and it doesn't have to necessarily be a photo ID. You know,
it can be a gas and electric bill?
It can be a gas and electric bill showing your name and your address, and that name and address matches what we have in our registration book when you come into the polls.
Now, what if they say, okay, I see your ID, but hey, we don't have your name in our book?
Yeah, that happens sometimes because someone will move. They move from one precinct to another precinct. Their name may not be in the book for that reason, and they may be a new registered voter that their name might have gotten in the book because we print the signature book like right before the election, and then they may have registered right when we had already printed that book.
So can you still vote?
You can definitely still vote. We do not turn away any voters because we have this process called provisional voting, and you just fill out this envelope and you sign the envelope. They'll give you your ballot. You go into the booth and you vote and you put it in the envelope. And that gets counted only after we verify the information that you are, in fact, a registered voter and that you do live in this precinct. And, you know, once it's determined you're a registered voter, your vote will count.
All right, every line is busy, so we'll get to the telephones, 513-381-3838. Let's start things off with Crystal. Crystal, how are you? Crystal. Okay, let's go to George. George, how are you?
I'm fine, yourself.
What's your question?
I can know it's too late for someone to register as an absentee voter in the city of Cincinnati who cannot get down there physically themselves and register.
Is it too late to get an absentee ballot?
It's not too late to get an absentee ballot, but it's too late to register to vote. If you're not already a registered voter, you cannot register to vote in this election, but you can register for the next primary election. But to be a registered vote, an absentee voter, all you do is you fill out a request, an application, and they will mail your ballot in the mail to your home.
Are you registered?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Well, you can request an absentee ballot up to 3 days before Election Day. So up to 3 days before Election Day, you request an absentee ballot, it will be mailed to your home. And you want to make sure that it gets back into the polls, into our location by 7:30 p.m. on Election Day. You can even bring it to the Board of Elections if you have a problem and you forgot to vote and put it in the mail. You can bring it down to the Board of Elections by 7:30 p.m. on Election Day.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Make sure you get in the process and vote. Let's go to Derek. Is it Derek or Eric? Eric, how are you?
All right, pretty good. How you doing, Lincoln?
Pretty good. What's your question?
Okay, the question is, seeing how there's been recent scandals concerning voting, the voting machines, everything, you know, the whole thing started with George W.'s rise, entering into the presidency, and all that went down in Florida and everything about the voting machines. And
right.
Is there anything in Cincinnati or anywhere in Cincinnati where a person can actually go and check out who was actually regulating the voting, or who was actually maintaining the voting machines, or where a person can actually check up on the voting machines? Because seeing how the big issue here in Cincinnati is the issue 27, everything, and I'm quite sure there's a lot of people out there who have the fear that even though people may vote, the majority of people may vote against issue 27, that they may not get a fair hand.
You think they may rig it up so that it passes? That's what you're thinking.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I'm sure a lot of people think the same thing, and you probably hear this all the time. But, I mean, I don't know how you answer that.
That doesn't happen. Well, in response to one of his questions about who maintains the equipment, it's all self-contained at the Board of Elections downtown at 824 Broadway. And actually, police are in the building, so there's a lot of security in that building.
And you have Republicans and
right, so I was
Democrats.
Say, the Board of Elections is made up of Democratic and Republican people from each party. So there's a dual control where we have both parties represented because they're the major parties in Ohio. And believe me, there's no way that we can rig it because it's programmed. And there's a Democrat and a Republican right there. And the bottom line is we're employees and we are concerned citizens as well. And we don't want to be involved in any kind of scandal, any kind of cheating going on. So we're going to make sure this is run fairly and efficiently.
Does that ease your mind any?
Yes, it does.
Okay. Well, I'm glad we eased your mind on
in the process, you know, the public comes down all the time to the Board of Elections on election night. And the vote counting room is so transparent that you can stand there and watch while the ballots come in.
Right. We watch that, and it's a very tedious process. You guys are lined up there. Let's go to Crystal. Crystal, good morning. Crystal must have some. I keep getting Crystal. And yes, Crystal.
It's Crystal.
Okay. How you doing?
Fine.
What's your question?
Why is it important to vote?
Why is it important to vote? Because voting is a part of the American way of life. I mean, you can't complain about your government if you're not in the process of electing your government officials. So if you don't vote and you're able to vote and then things are not going the way you want them to go, who do you blame? You blame yourself. So, I mean, it's a part of the process.
It's your voice.
Yes. Oh, excuse me.
When you vote, you're using your voice.
Excuse me.
All right. Thanks for your call. All right. Now, on Election Day, the polls open here in Hamilton County 6:30.
6:30 a.m.
6:30 a.m. and at 7:30 the polls close.
7:30 p.m. the polls close on
and
November the 6th.
Normally you have the results no later than what, 10 o'clock?
Around about 10, we have most of the precincts in, and most of the counting is done. But sometimes we have issues where some polling places can't get out of there in time to meet the truck, and they bring it down to the Board of Elections, and then there's some stragglers that come in. But we try hard to try to get it up as soon as possible. We want it to be done correctly.
And these machines are electronic, and you know when you're dealing with electronics, things always tend to go wrong. What if a machine breaks down at a certain polling place? What happens?
Well, we have troubleshooters in the field, and if a machine breaks down, a troubleshooter will respond we'll isolate the machine, and voters will still continue voting because they can vote. It's called an emergency ballot. That's in case if the power goes out, the worst case scenario. You still vote a regular ballot because we have paper ballots. So everybody's wondering about a paper trail. We have paper ballots where you fill in the box completely and you put your ballot in the emergency envelope. And that envelope is sealed, and we will put it in an area where their unscanned ballots go because we have to scan that at the Board of Elections. And we'll bring another piece of equipment out to that location, and we'll swap it out. And we have a system where it's tracked. We have barcodes on it. You know, we have seals on them. You know, we can tell somebody tampered with it. You know, the machine is picked up as in our control. We have a custody and control form that we have filled out. So we have a chain of custody that is in place, so we can track it, who had it next, and where it went. And then we bring it back. We'll take that machine and we'll take that memory card out. All those votes that are on there will still be counted, but at the point where the machine broke down, the other machine to replace it with, you know, we'll have that for that precinct.
So there's a lot of safeguards built in, and hopefully we have a stress-free election day here in Cincinnati.
That's what we hope that we have no drama.
All right, let's go to Fogey. Fogey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Lincoln?
Pretty good. What's your question?
I just started to be a poll worker there, and that issue 27, that's what I got a problem with. I live out in the county. Is I still be able to vote for it?
If you're a poll worker, can you still vote?
Yes, if you're a poll worker, you have every right as everyone else. You can vote absentee, or you can take the hour lunch that you have and go to your polling place and vote. But we're encouraging absentee because we want everyone to vote, and we don't want any excuses, and you can mail your ballot back in. And there is also, if you feel like you mailed your ballot back in or something, it got lost, you got your ballot at home and it got lost, you can still vote. You can go to your polling place, tell them that you misplaced your ballot, and what we'll do is we'll make sure that the ballot we sent out didn't come back in and get counted first, because we'll suppress that one, and then when you come to the polling place to vote as emergency provisional, then we'll verify that information first, and then it will be counted.
So, if you're a poll worker, it's best to vote absentee.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
All right, thanks for your call.
You're welcome.
All right, let's go to Ward. Ward, good morning.
Good morning, gentlemen. How y'all doing?
Good morning.
Pretty good.
I just wanted to ask Mr. Mallory, what position are you running for? That's it.
He's not running for any position. You know, he's the one Mallory that's not a politician. You know, he's the one that's not a politician. So he's not running for anything. What is your position?
I'm sorry, I'm not on the ballot, but if you want to vote for me, is that an
I was
endorsement?
asking for. I said, so the Mallory sign that's already out there, that's not you?
Oh, that's my brother.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah. I say he is the one Mallory that has a steady job and is not.
Wait a minute, they all have steady jobs.
Yeah, they all have steady jobs, but he's not a politician. What is your position at the Board of Elections?
I'm an elections administrator. I'm kind of in charge of the equipment. Where we make sure the logistics we're taking care of getting delivered to the polling places. I'm in charge of voter outreach, and we also have the printing department under my control.
All right, does that answer your question?
Yeah, all right. Y'all have a good day. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Bye-bye.
No, he is not running for office. I think Nicole was on 3. Nicole, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Pretty good.
I was calling. I'd like to know if you're registered in one state and you move back here to another state, do you have to register in this state?
Yes, you do. Yes, you do have to register in Ohio to be a qualified elector, but you have to do it 30 days prior to Election Day.
All right, then. Thank you.
All right,
okay.
Thank you.
What state are you moving from?
Kentucky.
Kentucky, okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thanks for your call. All right, 513-381-3838. Let's go to, okay, we'll take a quick break and then we'll come back and pick up the phone calls right here at It's 38 Lincoln Ware Live. We've got Joe Mallory from the Hamilton County Board of Elections. We'll take a quick break and return in just one moment. Back. And we're back live. Lincoln Ware Live is the program. And we've got Joe Mallory here from the Hamilton County Board of Elections. And what if I want to vote absentee, but I don't know I don't have an absentee ballot. How do I get one? What do I do?
We need an application.
Okay.
So we have really gone an extra mile. We've sent forms to UDF. UDF agreed to have them in their UDF stores here in Hamilton County. Kroger stores have applications available. The libraries, you can call and request one from the Board of Elections, 632-7039. You can go to our website and download an application and mail it to us. Also, you can fax a request to us and you put your name, address, social security number, and make a statement that I'm a qualified elector and the election you want to vote in, and you sign it and fax to us, and we'll send you your absentee ballot.
Okay.
You know, so
what if they can't fax it? Can they just? They still have a little time
They can bring
left
it to us.
bring it. Can they mail it? At
They
this
can
point,
mail
it's
it.
getting kind of late, but I would do it right away.
Yeah, they can mail it to us. They can bring it down to the Board of Elections. They can even come down to the Board of Elections and vote.
Okay. All right. So, and we encourage people to vote absentee if they just can't get out on election day. Things come up, things happen, and we want your vote. So make sure you get an application.
And one thing I want to say is, if you vote absentee, you can vote in the comfort of your home, and you can, you know, you can have
take
your
your
information
time and read the issues, because they can be wordy, and then you have to figure out, what am I voting for?
And you don't have to vote it right that time.
Right,
you can ask people questions, and you know, in the booth, you're there, and you have to make a decision on the spot. You know, and at home, you can take it, take your time.
All right, let's go to Robin. Robin, how are you? Robin.
Hello.
Yes, how you doing?
Okay.
What's your question?
I have a question for the gentleman, Mr. Mallory.
Yes, ma'am.
I was wondering, every time I call down to the Board of Elections, leave my name and phone number down there to vote on the polls, they never return my calls or my daughter calls. How come is that?
You want to vote on the phone?
Polls.
Oh.
I've been calling down there for 2 years, and they never did return my call.
Okay, you want to do what now?
Work on the polls.
Okay, you want to be a poll worker. Okay.
Poll worker. And every time I call down there and leave my name and phone number,
No one
they
ever
don't
calls you
return
back.
my calls.
Okay, what should she do?
Well, she can call 632-7041, or
They still don't return my calls, and I call that number.
okay, well, I can give you my call, but we can take your information offline and I can talk to you.
Leave your phone. I'm going to put you on hold, and we're going to ask, let's see, can you put her on hold from in there? Okay, put her on hold and get her number, and we'll give it to Joe, and he'll guarantee you somebody will call you back, okay?
Okay.
Thanks for your call. Let's go to Legina. Legina, good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
Good morning.
What's your question? How are you?
Yes, hi. My question is, I moved, and I live out in Springdale with my sister, but I moved in August. My license still says City of Cincinnati. Can I go back to my old voting place to vote?
You're supposed to vote where you reside, so that means you have to vote at that precinct. If you're living with your sister at that residence, and that's what you're using, you have to vote actually where you live. If you don't live at that Cincinnati address anymore, technically you're not supposed to vote from that location. So you can find out where the polling place is that she votes at, and you can go tell them that you moved, and that's your new address. You'll be voting as a provisional voter.
So the City of Cincinnati polling place won't have me as still being registered in that precinct.
They'll probably still have you registered, but if you don't live there, you're not supposed to. You're not supposed to vote from there. You'll probably still be in the books.
Well, yeah, because I'm just temporarily here. I'm not.
Oh, okay.
Oh, if you're temporary, I mean, do you still have a home or a residence at that location?
Yes, I still have the home, the resident. I'm just staying with her.
Okay, okay. You still live at the location where you're on your license, but you're just not staying there.
Yeah, I'm just not staying there.
Okay,
Oh, yeah, she can go vote
Yeah,
there.
you could go vote there.
Okay.
Okay, all right. Thanks for your call. 513-381-3838. Let's go to, who am I going to here? Okay, let's go to Cheryl. Cheryl, how are you?
Hello?
Yes, Cheryl.
Good morning. How are you?
Pretty good.
Good morning, Mr. Mallory. I have a question that's similar to the previous caller. I recently moved to Norwood, but I did not, I guess, re-register to vote. So am I still able? My only big concern is I want to vote on issue 27. So am I still able to vote?
If you live anywhere in the county.
You can still vote, but again, you have to be a provisional voter if you've moved and your new address is in Norwood. You have to vote at the precinct that your address falls under in Norwood. Okay. But you can still vote.
Issue 27 is a county issue.
Okay.
And I got, how are you voting on issue 27 while we're at it?
I'd rather not say it.
There you go.
Don't chicken out on me. Thanks for your call.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Ask him.
You can't get any answers out of people nowadays on issue 27. All right, 513-381-3838. We're talking to Hamilton County. I'm talking to Joe Mallory. He is the administrator at the Hamilton County Board of Elections. And if you've got questions for him, we're taking your calls. Let's go to Rue. Rue, how are you, Rue? How are you, Rue?
How you doing? This is Greg.
Greg, yes, go ahead.
I'm trying to find out is can ex-offenders vote if they stayed out of trouble for 2 years or better?
That's a good question. I'm glad you brought that up because
Yes.
a lot of people think that because they're an ex-felon that they cannot vote. You can vote as long as you're a registered voter. As soon as you get out of, if someone's incarcerated, as soon as they get out, all they got to do is re-register, and they have the rights as anyone else.
Okay.
As long as you're a registered voter, you can vote.
And you can even vote if you're in jail and your trial hasn't come up yet.
The thing is, the key on that is it has to be you're awaiting trial.
Right.
And you haven't been convicted yet.
Right.
So the day before Election Day, we actually send some of our employees to the jail.
Okay. So if you're waiting for your trial and you're in jail, you can still vote.
Right. That's correct.
How about that?
Thank you.
Okay, thanks for your call.
All right.
Yeah, that felony thing, a lot of people get confused on that. So if you've been convicted and you've got a felony, as long as you're not in jail, serving your time, and you're registered, you can vote.
You can vote.
Okay, all right. Let's go to JD. JD, how are you?
Good morning, Lincoln. How are you?
Morning, pretty good.
I have a question on this absentee ballot or voting out of your precinct.
Okay.
It's going to cause it can cause a lot of double voting. If you go back to the precinct where you used to vote, and they got you in the books and you vote there, and then you go to another area and say, well, I live in this area, I want to vote in this area, you're voting twice.
Well, that's not going to be possible because if your name's not in the book, you're going to be voting as a provisional voter. We do not open those until we verify all the information. And we're not going to count twice. If we get two, one of them's not getting counted.
Okay, so you have a way to sort that out down at the...
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right, thank you.
All right, thanks for your call. All right, let's go to Emma. Emma, you have a question?
Yes, I do.
Yes.
I vote at Evanston Community Center every time we have voting, and then I would like to know, I called downtown to want to be a poll worker too, but they never returned my call.
So you called and they never returned your call to give you information on becoming a poll worker.
Well, I apologize. We should return everyone's call, but it is very busy, and we did get a lot of calls. We had a call out, a plea for poll workers, and
Just wondering,
the
do they
phones.
need any more help or whatever, because...
I'm not sure if they're filled now, but if you again give the information to the gentleman that answered the phone, I'll follow up on it.
No, okay, dear.
Okay, we'll put you on hold.
I can't guarantee that you're going to work this election, but I can process your information, and maybe the next election you can work.
Okay.
All right,
Okay.
put her on hold and get her information for Joe. Can you do that real quick before? There we go. All right, Norman, how you doing? Was this Norman?
Marvin.
How you doing?
All right, how's it going?
Pretty good.
All right. Hey, I had a question for you on that felony thing. Who made up the law? Who decides the felons can't vote? We still pay taxes for them, so why?
He said you could vote. Did you understand what he was saying?
Yeah, I understand what
Well, once you're convicted,
and the people that's incarcerated.
once you're convicted, the legislators make the law, of course, but once you're convicted, you're disenfranchised. You lose your right to vote. And that's what the legislators have come up with, and those are laws on the book of how revised code. There are some states that don't even let you vote after you've gotten out of jail as a felon until you've been out 5 years.
Right. But here in Ohio, you can vote as soon as you get out of jail.
Just register to vote and you can vote. And some people get convicted of a felony, but they didn't go in jail. They got probation or something like that. You can still vote. You haven't lost your right. You just have to make sure that your registration is active and you can still vote.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, thanks.
All right, thanks for your call. And let's see, do we have time for another call or? Okay, we'll take a quick call from Nicole, real quick, Nicole.
All right. I want to know if you're a felon and you get out and you're released to like a Talbot house, can you vote?
Okay, if you're on parole and they release you into the custody of a Talbot house.
That's one of the tricky ones. You know, if you're still reporting to the Talbot house, you know, technically they consider that you're incarcerated. You know, technically. But you know, if you're a registered voter, you know, it depends on your situation. You might not be in the Talbot house at the time that you go to vote. So I mean, I don't know what your details are of the situation,
but this person will still be there. So that's why I was asking. They will still be in the Talbot house.
Technically, you're still under community control.
Yeah. So you won't be able to vote this time around.
And then I have another question, too. I heard a lady say something about her polling place changed because she moved, and then you said that both of the votes wouldn't get counted. Is it against the law to go to both of those places and vote just to make sure that...
Well, I can tell you this. It is against the law to vote at 2 different places.
This is not Chicago. Okay, thanks for your call. Joe, you've given out a lot of good information.
Okay.
And we want people, give the phone number of Board of Elections.
632-7000, and our website is votehamiltoncounty.com. And all our information is on there, and we encourage everyone to vote. If you can vote early, as easy as 1, 2, 3, just vote absentee.
Vote early and often. No, just vote early. All right, Joe, thanks for joining me this morning.
Thank you.
We'll take a quick break, and we'll come back with the Talk of the Town right here on Lincoln Ware Live on It's 38. We'll take a quick break, and we'll come back and wrap things up right here on Lincoln Ware Live. Live, Lincoln Ware Live is a program coming up on It's 38 today at noon, Beyond Evil, starring John Saxton. That's Beyond Evil, starring John Saxton. And this show was so great. If you want to see a rebroadcast of it, tonight at 8 o'clock on WOTH Channel 25. This show is so great they have to show it twice. But they're also showing Beyond Evil twice, starring John Saxton. That's at 9 o'clock following the rebroadcast of this show tonight on Channel 25. Don't forget, check me out Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on 1230 WDBZ, The Buzz of Cincinnati. And if you want to talk to me, you can call me on my voicemail, 679-6028. Leave me a message, and I'll get back with you. That's going to do it until next week. We'll see you then on Lincoln Ware Live.